students, today's my topic is classification of cost. So first I will tell you about the cost. What do you understand by cost? So cost means in general manner we include all the expenses those are related for the production of goods. Those are incurred in the cost in the expenses for making a product. This is known as cost. We can classify it in the different parts, just like element of cost basis, classification of cost, and number two, organizational functional basis, and number three, behavioral basis. So first I will tell you about the element of cost. In element of cost we can classify it again in three parts: material, labor, and expenses. These are again divided into two parts: direct and indirect. In material, direct material and indirect material. We know direct material, we already study about this direct material or direct expenses in final account, trading profit and loss, and balance sheet part. Direct material, those are directly involved or seen for making a production. Those are directly involved for making a goods. These are known as direct material. For example, raw material, semi-fixed expenses, or fixed goods, etc. These are involved for making the goods. And number two, indirect material. Indirect material, those are involved for making the goods but not directly shown. For example, those expenses are related for factory overheads, office expenses, and selling and distribution and administration expenses. These are known indirect material. And second element of cost is labor. We know about the labor. Those goods, those persons who are making goods is known as labor, or in form of remuneration which is paid by them is known as labor. It's again divided into two parts: direct labor and indirect labor. Those labor directly related for making the production is known as direct labor, and those directly not related for making the goods is known as indirect labor. For example, those related to factory expenses, office, and selling expenses. Third element of cost is overhead. We can again divide it into two parts: direct overhead or expenses, or indirect overheads or expenses. Again, those expenses or overheads are directly related for the production of goods is known as direct overhead or expenses. For example, if patents, copyrights are expenditure on the basis of production of goods, these are come in direct overhead and expenses. And excise duties and special tools, those are related for a particular purpose, is also comes in direct overhead category. And indirect overhead category, those expenses are related for factory overheads, selling and distribution overheads, and selling and distribution, and office and administration, and factory overheads category related. Those are come in indirect expenses. Now second classification of cost is as organizational function basis. Functional basis, organizational functional basis, we include all the indirect expenses related to materials, labors, and expenses or overheads are included in the category of overheads. And now we classify the cost as per the organizational organizational functional basis, which can classified in as factory overheads, selling and distribution overheads, factory overheads, selling and distribution overheads, and office and administration overhead. We can divide it into three categories. In factory overhead, those expenses are related to factory, means depreciation of machinery or the uses of machinery, plant. Those related to factory is comes in the category of factory overheads. And those expenses related to office and administration comes in office and administrative category. And those expenses related to selling and distribution expenses comes in selling and distribution, means packaging, etc. expenses, or advertisement expenses comes in selling and distribution overheads category. Now we comes in third part of classification of cost as per the basis of behavioral of cost, means we can divide the cost as per the behavior into three category. We know generally cost is known as fixed cost and variable cost, but here we divided into three category: fixed cost, variable cost, and semi-variable cost. Example of fixed cost means those costs are remain in all the level of production. It's never change. For example, factory rent. Suppose we use 50% of 50% capacity of machinery. If we use 100% capacity of machinery use, then factory rent will remain same. There will no impact on the capacity level of machinery. It will no change. So fixed cost always remain same. And second category, variable cost. Variable cost vary or differ as per the number of units. For example, raw material, labors, etc. These are varied as per the units. And number three, semi-variable expenses. Semi-variable expenses means those expenses include the symptoms of both variable expenses and variable and fixed. Both category involved in semi-variable. For example, telephone bills or electricity bills include in this category because a particular minimum amount of rent is fixed in both of these, and then after per capacity level or per calls level charge will be applied. So here fixed cost is involved as per the rent level, fixed rent level, and per unit or per call is known as variable category. So this is a mixture of semi variable expenses or semi fixed category. So if you have faced any problem, then you can ask from me. Thank you.